Hello and welcome to League of Loggers. Today's episode is Season 4, Episode 16. Tonight our co-hosts are Curtis James over there.
Hey.
I'm Viking Redbeard. I don't know what I'm doing with my life.
I don't know. Snap into a logger.
It's been a day.
Yeah.
My brain's fried. I am ready to talk about some matches. Ready to...
Week 1 in the books, Chase.
Yeah, Week 1. Not much for surprises. Everything kind of shook out how I kind of expected it to.
I'm sad. I was going to have my pre-split rankings and what changed. Because most of it I feel like we got pretty right. But yeah, there was a few things I think Golden Guardians is better than I expected them to be, and I thought they had made a pretty good improvement. Immortals is worse, but that also involved something that happened after our episode. They benched Xmithy. Let's fucking start there. Immortals is 0-2 after barely missing playoffs last split, and they benched Xmithy, which was the biggest move happening between when we last saw you guys and now.
Yeah, I didn't.
What the fuck?
I didn't really even see why that they pulled that luck in.
They didn't exactly say. So you would assume the rumors that have come out about Xmithy being a little bit difficult and maybe not wanting to practice as much, try as hard, are possibly true.
I don't know. I think so. Xmithy, I think, is the oldest player on that team. He's clocking in somewhere around.
He's the oldest player in the league.
He's 27, 26.
I think he's 30 almost.
Oh shit! Okay.
Him, Double Lift, and Afromu are the oldest players in the league anyway. I don't know which one's the oldest, but they're all right around 30.
Okay.
They're 29, 30.
He was on he was on TL 2 splits ago. He was
last split he was. I'm sorry, last year he was TL. You're right, 2 splits ago.
And to go from that,
he's 29.
Oh, 29. Okay. Yeah. So from going from Team Liquid and looking pretty darn good on Team Liquid, I don't ever think that he was the problem.
No.
And to go from that to...
I mean, and the problem being, the 4 championships they won in a row?
Yeah.
There was no problem on Team Liquid. I could see saying he's the weakest person on the roster because he's not an aggressive jungler. He's not flashy. But, yeah, I mean... Yeah, to go from that, like you were saying,
to
and then,
this... last split, I don't think he looked bad. He looked pretty darn okay.
Yeah.
And then to go from that to he's benched this split, it doesn't really add up in my opinion.
No.
And then to watch them kind of fumble this hard week 1, it's not a good look.
Yeah, what's the name of the jungler they brought in? It escapes me at the moment. Potluck, thank you. Potluck looked fine.
Yes.
I'm not going to say, I feel like Immortals' issues last split, and I said it at the time, centered on Aka. Aka never really improved in the mid lane the way we saw Ryoma do on 100 Thieves, and they were the 2 bottom mids in LCS at the beginning of last split. So heading into this split, it's who do we have now? Pobelter got brought in for Crown and was one of the better, mids as the split went on.
Well, Aka was only bottom because he was brand new, right?
I mean, bottom just based on performance of, say, the first 3-4 weeks.
Okay.
So, coming in, I mean... The guess would be he would be lower than people like Crown and stuff,
Sure.
but Crown shit the bed too.
Yeah.
So, but you're looking at the split now, we saw Golden Glue, who's fine, personally upgraded for Damonte, and I think every other mid remained the same. And so, who's Aka gonna be better than? I mean, Ryoma improved in last split, and Aka didn't seem like he did. You got Jensen, you got Niski, you got Bjergsen. Who the fuck is he gonna match if he's not improving? No one.
Yeah.
Power of Evil, there's a lot of good mid talent in NA right now.
Yeah, I mean, but Aka was a rookie last split.
Rookie here.
Oh, okay, rookie here.
Because he did come from... I guess he was a Major League rookie, because he had not played in LEC. He came from French national team.
Okay.
So, yeah, he was a rookie. You're right.
So, I mean, you have to give somebody like that a little bit of time before you're okay, I'm going to write you off because you didn't do well day 1.
True. And I'm not saying they have to write him off, but... so we were talking about Immortals as a whole, I guess. And Xmithy wasn't the issue. Soaz wasn't doing great up top, but he wasn't terrible. Xmithy was one of the best players on the team. And then you had Aka probably the weakest part on that team. And then who was playing bot lane for them last split?
Was it Altec
Is it still?
still?
Oh, they started with Apollo and
Oh,
Hakuho, and then
yeah.
went to Altec and Hakuho, and now it's Altec and Gate.
Yes.
Like, in Apollo and Altec, both serviceable bot laners. Hakuho and Gate. I think I argued for Gate to play on Optic Summon. He never got the start over Big, and it was pissed me off. But I think he's fine. Like, I don't think he's necessarily better than Hakuho. I'll have to see more from him. I don't think he's ever gotten enough sunlight recently in LCS. But when you look at that team, Xmithy is the best performer on that team from last split. And so you bench him now?
Yeah.
Like,
unless he's like straight up trying to fight other players, like if he starts
Maybe.
getting into like physical altercations with people, like would be the only reason that like if there's something hostile going on, sure
Yeah.
I get it, but I mean we can't see into these houses, so it's really kind of a black
Yeah.
box that we're speculating
yeah,
about.
and I mean, the press that Immortals has put out since last split has been super vague. They've talked about, oh, we're trying out the 10-man roster, and they're like, we're looking forward to 2021, but we still want to do well in 2020, and we're looking at synergies, and this is the most teamwork team we've got, and stuff. Like, they never say, this team's good and will win. They don't say, we are playing these players now because we want them to be better next year. They are real fucking vague about everything. It sounds like going to a goddamn meeting where they're trying to sell you on new, like, restructuring within the company, and all of it is just corporate bullshit. It's like, so what you're really saying is, somebody's getting paid to shuffle shit around and we're firing 3 people. Okay, I get it. Like,
Did we just join a pyramid scheme? I don't even know what's happening.
I know. But, like,
I mean, it definitely seems like they're like reaching into like a thing of wet spaghetti, trying to chuck it at the wall and see what sticks. And right now, nothing is sticking.
yeah, I give them kudos for putting in Gate and trying that. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with them mixing around the bot lane and trying those out. That's cool. And I don't think Potluck's bad either. And you know what? Honestly, like, if Potluck does well, maybe you can sell Xmithy to TSM halfway through the season when Speak is still shit in the bed.
Fucking speak up.
But, I mean, like, I don't know. Maybe they can find something somewhere there. But I think Soaz needs to do better. And maybe he'll have better synergy with Potluck or something. And Aka is the issue right now. I think overall, he's the biggest issue. I don't know who's behind him, and I doubt whoever's behind him isn't the answer. It's just...
Insanity? I'm not even familiar.
Yeah, give him a shot. I mean, partway through the season, and we may see Xmithy play again. We'll probably see more shifts. And I'm okay with a team who, let's be realistic, unless something clicks incredibly, has no shot at Worlds. So, fucking try it. Like, I'm not gonna be hard on their ass about what the fuck are you doing, unless we are 6 weeks into the season and they haven't made a change in any of the positions yet, and they're just doing the same shit. At that point, then I have an issue with what Immortals is doing this split. But if they are messing around, they show improvement, they're trying out different players, great, do that. That's what I wish more teams would do when you're looking at a split or a season, that it's like, we're not going anywhere, so let's actually focus going forward.
Yeah, I mean, when you're some of these like lower tier teams and you've got sponsorships that you want to keep and you want to get new sponsorships, like it really sucks when like you just keep randomly changing stuff and then the players are the ones suffering, because the players could possibly win if they're not being shuffled around every other game. Like if you give them time to work together and build up the team together, like build like you have to have that cohesion on the Rift. And if like you keep plucking somebody out and putting somebody in, like it's just like playing with 5 random people every single time.
I mean, you've got a good point there. Like they shouldn't go mix and match too hard, because they're not giving their players an opportunity to improve then. So it is a hard balance to find. Like, definitely don't be swapping it up every week, and don't be swapping 3 positions every week or something, you know, like maybe once every 3 weeks you can swap a person, which gives you the ability to swap out 3 players from now till the end of the split. Assuming you get playoffs, like then obviously you can make that last swap and play a little bit there. But I think if they just play this squad the whole time, and they get the same 3-15 record that CLG got last split to finish last, then you're doing it wrong. Because CLG even was 1-9, I think. I think they were further than that when they swapped out Crown for Pobelter. And it worked. They got 2 more wins, and that team, without making any switches between last split and this split, already has a win. So, and actually, let's just segue straight into them. We'll jump over the other 0-2s right now. Let's talk about CLG. Because they did not make a single roster change. They didn't change a starter, nothing. They've got Ruin, Wiggly, Pobelter, who was the swap last split, and still Stixay and Smoothie in the bot lane. Their first game did not look good.
Yeah.
They got perfect gamed to start the split by EG, and right away I was just... I thought, oh shit, this poor team, they're gonna get fucked. They are gonna go... They're gonna old school Golden Guardians and go like 1-17.
After that game, I went directly to EG's store and I bought a hat.
That's when you bought it?
Yeah, I bought an EG hat this weekend. It'll be here Saturday.
Well, I saw you did. Did you buy? Like, did you watch that live on Friday? And we're just like bought. Oh
no. I watched it on Saturday night, so I was
did you
watching
know,
it while I was drunk. And
did you know any other results at that point, or was it just
No.
your first game in? You're like, let's go.
Yeah, I was like, well, I've been talking about like being like an EG fan and like wanting to like follow their stuff, and they come in.
The new
game
logo's
1,
slick.
And yeah, the new logo's slick. The hat's navy and embroidered with that new logo.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just like watched that, and I was like, let's go to EG's website. $25, $5 shipping,
Done. I mean, it looks good. Yeah, you posted the image, but CLG, they got rocked that first game, but then game 2, they play against Immortals, who, I mean, I think everybody heading into that game on Sunday were like, yep, these are the worst 2 teams in the league. And CLG looked lots better than Immortals. And I think a lot of it there is mid-difference. Like, Pobelter, and actually, I shouldn't jump out and say they looked a lot better right away, because was it that game that Pobelter played Diana, or was that a different game?
I don't
Or
recall.
that somebody played Diana. God, it's weekend's a blur, and I don't got my normal notes, unfortunately. But I don't know, like CLG was just better. I think Ruin's going to be an issue for this team, because Ruin makes some shit plays. I think Wiggly needs a better top laner for him to be better. I think he's going to look better with Pobelter this split, even more so than he did last split once they got Pobelter. And I just don't know if Stixay has it anymore.
Well, I don't even know what Smoothie was doing this weekend. Smoothie, just terrible.
Yeah, okay, it was the game Pobelter was on Diana, and they were falling behind, and then there was a couple fights in a row where he just popped off and was able to just dive into everyone on Diana and basically wombo comboed fights for CLG, and yeah, they came back that way. Yeah, Smoothie. There was a lot of underperforming supports this weekend, it felt like.
Yeah.
Who do you bring in if you're CLG to replace Stixay? Because I think we had this discussion last split a little bit, because personally, I've kind of reached the train, or, you know, I've gotten to the what's the word, the terminal, or the station, and I want to board the get rid of Stixay train, but he's been good in the past, and we still see flashes, so I'm not, like, fully sold. I've got a ticket. I bought it already. I just haven't committed to going. And I think the biggest part holding me back is I don't know who they bring in.
Well, they're not going to get anyone in A that's currently playing.
Right. Honestly, I'd rather teams stopped grabbing people who are already playing a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Because, like, yeah, you could get Sneaky, and that'd be a huge improvement. But guess what? Sneaky's not going to go to fucking CLG.
Unless they give him a lot of money and they, like, just...
If they don't have a chance at making Worlds, he's not joining right now.
Oh, yeah.
I call it immediately. So, like, the same when Doublelift was leaving Team Liquid. If the team didn't have a shot at Worlds, he wasn't going. And I won't blame those guys. Like, Sneaky's always been to Worlds when he has played, and he's not going to be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to fuck that off and play for CLG. Me and Pobelter will be the old person's home of the fucking LCS.
I don't know, like, maybe I just don't have any, like, self-respect or dignity, but if you're gonna offer me a shitload of money to just go play for some shit team, I'd probably do it.
But if you're already making that load of money streaming League, then you don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Because, like, that's the
it would
sneaky situation.
It would have to be a significant amount more than
Yeah.
what I currently make.
Yeah, and that's, like, the issue with, like, the good players who could go to CLG, like Sneaky, or, like, if Doublelift hadn't had, you know, or if he hadn't gotten put on TSM, like, I'm sure CLG offered, and he's just like, he's like, bitches, I will make more sitting on the bench and streaming than, you know, I care to play with you.
Well,
and I'm sure that's where Sneaky is exactly. Like, no, I'm good.
He did that interview where he's like, I'm not going to no shitter team, so...
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, so...
And he didn't.
No.
Well...
That's yet to be seen.
I don't know. I mean, do you think there's a fix for CLG this split? Because I see them being better than Immortals and probably one other team, which we'll talk about next because I think you know exactly where we're going with that.
My favorite team?
But I don't see them rising above 8th. Although, I guess for them, 8th is playoffs, so that's a win.
I mean, we have been wildly incorrect in some of these predictions before. Some of the people that we thought were going to do absolute garbage did absolute fantastic things and at least got, like, top 4. And then we've also seen the alternative of that where we thought they were going to do top 4 and they did 8 or 10.
I mean, we thought CLG was going to be top 3 last split.
Yeah, CLG was the heartbreaker last year, or last time we did that. And I think that they're going to be sitting painfully down right near Immortals.
Yeah. I've got to say, though, the CLG up here to down here just means that, because not the total opposite happened, but an upgrade happened on the other side. Power of Evil will never be underrated again. Because Power of Evil went from, on CLG, which was like, oh man, yeah, it's him and Stixay and you know, Ruin's like, I'd never understood people who said Ruin was looking good personally, but it's like, oh, they've got that all going for them. Like, yeah, oh, they're getting Crown, that's even maybe a slight upgrade, and they went to fucking shit. And I guess the other switch they made was Biofrost into Smoothie, but obviously one of those changes is way bigger. and meanwhile, FlyQuest gets Power of Evil, and boop, get all the way up to second place, you know, finish only behind the most dominant team LCS has ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, damn. So, yeah, let's talk about that other shitter team that we think can finish behind CLG.
Dig?
Oh, it's Dig. It's absolute Dig.
I mean, 100 Thieves didn't look very great this weekend either, but...
Their opponents made them look bad.
Yeah.
Dignitas lost to Golden Guardians and TSM and didn't look good in either of those.
Yeah. I mean, Aframu looked like garbage. Just this everything about Dignitas this split. Like,
Hold on. Say that again, but this time try and pretend it's surprising.
yeah, I know. And so it's funny because I wanted to be a Dig fan so hard last split. They had Huni, they had DeMonte,
they benched DeMonte last split. He never even fucking played.
Well, I know, but I wanted to be a fan before that happened.
Oh, before the split started?
Yeah, because I was like, we got Huni, we got...
when you're like thinking about Clutch that had gone to Worlds.
Yeah, exactly.
Clutch Natas.
And then I'm really glad that this is happening to them, and that I did not actually buy any of their merch.
More so the latter. I mean, like, Johnson is good. He is a good bot laner. He needs to have a competent support with him, and they picked up a new support. We were talking about pre-split on last week's episode.
They've got JJ.
Yeah, which, okay, never mind. They picked up a different support. And, like, so JJ is one of those examples of LCS, a systemic issue the LCS has with keeping around talent that has fairly well shown what their ceiling is and that it's not good enough to be important, right? Like, I understand the value of having, say, JJ over Afromu or something possible. Like, I don't even think you could go there. You'd have to say, like, JJ and Afromu over, like, to name some old... Big or Matt. Or it's like having Ruin or Darshan over Dokla. Yeah, they're better. But even though they're better, they're not good. Everyone else is better than them. Congratulations, you are the minimum to not suck. Like, and yes, these are all pros. They're all playing at a massively high level. But when you're talking about pros, like, why are you bringing in JJ? Afram was not going to learn anything from JJ. JJ's played long enough and with enough people, he's not going to learn anything from Afromu. Like, he is not your next starting support. So why bring him in? Get me somebody out of fucking solo queue who's never played in an organized, like, environment but is still good. Give them a shot. Fucking bring them in for the league goddamn minimum onto your academy, which I looked at it. The academy and the LCS minimums are separate. So, real cheap academy players. It's like 25 grand or something like that, I bet. Well, that's what it was originally, so it's probably like 40 now or something. But, you know.
It's barely a livable wage.
Most of the academy players don't actually live in LA.
Oh, really?
Yeah, most academy teams are remote. Most.
Okay.
Well, it's probably half the league now. But yeah, I mean, there's some like Cloud9 who have them all in-house, or at least everyone who can be, you know. But it does vary throughout the league.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, like, or whatever, have his first split on he gets a 1-split contract, he plays remote with the academy, but he's still, you know, in all the meetings and shit. And if the kid shows improvement, where it's like, all right, this got promise, then the next split, you know, you sign him on for a little bit more and bring him in, you know, things like. This seems like a pretty obvious way to run a sports organization, but instead you're like, you know, that kid was about the 8th best support 2 years ago. We should bring him on. Why? What value is there in that?
Yeah, there's no way that there's not people in solo queue that are better than that. Like, whether or not they're willing to actually play professionally or agree to a contract, I'm sure that there's probably some things to work out. But
I'm sure you could find them.
I mean, we really. I know that you probably don't really want to waste import slots on your support, but like if
it's on academy, it matters less.
Yeah. Like, you have to do something. Like, you can't just continue. Like, the supports in NA have just continued. Like, the ones that are doing well, they continue to do well. And the ones that were not looking good, like, 2 splits ago, they're looking like complete utter garbage now.
Yeah, I mean, if we're looking at Dignitas, where are they using their import slots? Froggen and Viper. Guess what? I'm hoping Viper can turn it around, because he has had one quite good split when he was on FlyQuest. Santorin helped mold him into a better player, I feel like. He had a bad split on FlyQuest, and now, hopefully, he will improve again. I don't sell that kid down the river like JJ yet. He's got another 2 bad splits at him before he's JJ, and I'm like, why the fuck is he on your team?
Yeah, I mean, we had an NA native in Demonte sitting behind Froggen. Demonte's already looked better than Froggen did the entire last split. Yeah,
Froggen had... Well, I think he had 2 really good games last split. But still, like, there's this long history with Froggen. He's been around forever. He's like Pobelter, Smithy, Double Lift, where he's been around since the dawn of the LCS.
Yeah.
And Soaz. Actually, I think him and Soaz are perfect examples. Because I think they are both players who have been very, very good. Soaz saw, like, actual success because he was on Fnatic. Froggen had success like one time, and then he's not succeeded since then. And people are like, well, he's on this bad team. If you're 4 bad teams in, guess what? You're not a good teammate either. Like, I'm sorry, but you can only be on so many teams that fail to succeed as the star before it's like, you know what? Maybe you are also part of that formula. Especially last split, when you also had Huni with you. I'm sorry. He's not a star anymore either? You know what? Actually, no, he's in that fucking group too, but at least he still pops off. Like...
I mean, Froggen will have, like, a Wicked Anivia game once in a while, and that's about it. Like, if you take away Anivia from him, he is basically completely neutered. And that's not something that you want. Like, because...
I mean, I wouldn't say he's not as one-dimensional as, like, Viper and Riven seems to be currently.
Sure.
But, yeah, he's a farmer. Like, that's what he does.
Right
and games
now, I
aren't
think
slow.
mid is the most important lane of the entire map.
And how do mids play?
aggressive
and
everywhere.
roaming. Everywhere, exactly. Froggen doesn't play that way. He sits in his lane and he farms up for late. Games are aggressive, fast, and mid laners are everywhere, roaming. He's neither of those. He's a farming, stationary mid laner. Like, he's all about controlling mid lane. Well, guess what? If you control mid lane to 25 minutes, and they control the rest of the map, you lost. They have Baron buff, or they have Dragon Soul.
Yeah.
He's exactly the wrong kind of mid laner for this meta.
and this really sucks. The meta has changed quite dramatically in the past year. Like, it completely changed.
But Froggen's like 4 years old meta. Oh. Like, that's the problem, is the meta has slowly changed, and then more this past year, but he's never kept up.
Yeah. He kind of rested on his laurels of like, hey, I can do Anivia things when they give it to me.
I don't think he's lazy. I think that's just what he's good at.
Sure.
Like, I'm not going to expect Shaq to become a free throw shooter. He's terrible at that. But you're going to dunk that shit.
Yeah. No, that's fair. It's just watching.
His time's gone.
Yeah. He should have been done. This whole, like, half of this team should have retired already.
Yeah.
Moo should have been done. Froggen should have been done. Huni is basically done.
Yeah. We should just do a quick side segment that's like, hey, who in the LCS should be retired? Not by their own volition, because make that money. Get it, guys. Hell yeah. But, like, who should teams not be hiring? And I think Froggen, Aphromoo, Soaz are three that immediately come to mind. It's like, yeah, they should probably be done. As sad as I was to see Darshan go down from CLG and Ruin replace him, Darshan's time was gone.
Is that Zion Spartan?
Yeah, he switched over to Zion Spartan more recently.
I was like, wait a
switched
second.
back, I should say. And I think, like, that's what it is. Like, Huni's another one of those players. Even though he had flashes, is like, okay, he's not consistently good enough. The last time he was consistently good, even beyond 50%, was Echo Fox. When it was DeMonte, him, and Dardoch. You had three aggressive, good players. And they played and their bot lane was fucking, was it Altec and Hakuho, I think. Or Apollo Hakuho.
I thought it was Altec and Adrian for a second.
It might have been, yeah.
But then it was Altec and Hakuo.
And then it was Phil, and there was all sorts of it mixing around. But, like, when Huni was last good more than half the time, it was those three players on Echo Fox. Like, that's not Huni carrying them. It's having two other really good aggressive people on that side of the map, so as a whole, you can just, like, fuck on people. But I don't think Froggen can do that because he would need an aggressive, like, jungler and bot lane to cover for him. And guess what? Afromoo's in the bot. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, Johnson definitely looks good. He looks like he's going to continue to improve. I think Dardoch has not been the problem, but he hasn't gotten to play because he's behind Acadian. Froggen has looked terrible. Moo has looked terrible.
Yeah.
Viper has looked 50-50 at best.
Yeah.
And, like, they really just need to get rid of Moo and Froggen, find something else.
If only they would have kept DeMonte.
No fucking shit. But I am glad that DeMonte is on Golden Guardians because Golden Guardians actually has, like, a new spirit of life in them right now.
And it's just like Dignitas brings in JJ instead for their backup. Right? That's what you said?
Yeah, JJ.
Like, you're not gonna, and that's not gonna happen. Great. So you're gonna stunt Johnson. I thought Johnson playing with Aphromoo for a split was a good thing because it's a veteran who can teach him a lot of things, but now he needs somebody who's good.
Yeah.
So get rid of JJ, get rid of Aphromoo. Froggen, who did they bring in behind Froggen now?
Phoenix?
Oh, for fuck's sake! Put him on the list too! Guess what? He was on that Echo Fox team as well. Like, before they were good. Or was it afterwards? I don't know. Fucking one way or the other. Like, no, Phoenix, he was mid and then bot and then mid again and all the time. He's not good enough. Get rid of him. Like, Dignitas is an old folks' home of pros who can't hack it anymore. What the fuck is going on?
They literally bought their LCS spot and were like, hey, we're just going to buy people that people know.
Well, no, so Dignitas, like, got in with, like, the Clutch, they're still there. They're just the minority holder now. Or they're no longer majority, I guess is the better way to say it. Like, it's all still there. They had the fucking whole team, and they blew it up. Like, they decided they needed to pay Hooney, so they sold Vulcan and got Johnson. Great, you got Johnson, but you sold off fucking Vulcan, and you ended up
best thing that's
to
ever
pay
happened
for
to
Hooney.
That guy ever.
Yeah, no.
Vulcan fucking made out like a bandit.
There should just be gifs of Vulcan just going. Like,
he got out of that fucking cluster storm
crushed
of
it.
shit.
The team would be better if he was there, though.
No, they wouldn't.
Because it wouldn't be Afro Moo.
Oh, okay, yes, you are correct. I forgot.
If they would have kept Vulcan, said we can't pay Hooney, got rid of Hooney, I don't care who they got top lane. They got ex-top laner, did the Acadian Grig thing, DeMonte, Vulcan, and whoever they wouldn't have Johnson, they would still have somebody else as their bot laner. That team's still better than this current team.
Yeah.
Like, how do you make all of the wrong decisions?
And it's funny, because, like, when we were still at Tabletop, we ran into, like, a guy that works for Dignitas.
Yeah.
And, like...
So he was going to get in touch with us to, like, do some shit, and never heard from him again. Yeah. Well, I think they were going to do Legends of Runeterra, and I think when that didn't pick off as an e-sport, that's why it died.
Yeah. But, fucking, I was just like, oh, man, like... Dig is going to do really well, and then they did the complete opposite of every possible good thing, and they just were like, oh, this is going to do good, this is going to be good for our team, we're probably going to make money. No, let's do the opposite, let's just fucking shit ourselves.
So, yeah, let's, you brought it up, actually. Let's talk about a team that's doing the opposite, making good moves, and in fact, they made a really good move by getting DeMonte. Golden Guardians, man, like... Golden Guardians identified issues they had and moved on it. Like, and it wasn't that Golden Glue was bad. He was one of the better players on that team last split, but they're like, there's a better player out there. Let's grab him. Grabbed DeMonte, slotted him in. And already they're looking better.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I was pleasantly surprised with how they played this weekend. Like, I know that TL did TL things where they look like shit for the first 10-15 minutes.
Well, I think this TL's something else, so we'll get there. But I think, like, Closer and DeMonte, like, that's what I was looking forward to last week. Looked good.
Yeah. No, I mean, I was saying, like, they looked good against TL. Like, those first 10-15 minutes, I was like, oh, shit, they're doing pretty darn well. And then TL did TL things, and they're like, they capitalized on a couple of mistakes, but...
Broxa was actually on Travis Gafford's show this past week, Monday night, last night, the Hotline League, and the way he talked about that game, there was concern. Like, he talked about holding on during that game, like how... And it was partly he was playing Trundle into an aggressive, Nidalee, I believe, Closer played, yeah. And it's just like, he was playing the passive into the aggressive jungler, and just the way it played. He was talking, he made some specific comments about Closer, though, about how Closer is very good, and he was given an aggressive pick, and it was a struggle for him to stay relevant until the point where TL could finally do something. And I think that's just a lot of kudos, not only to Golden Guardians as a whole, but very specifically to Closer as well. I think we both identified he looked really good last split, and we both said, hey, look, DeMonte's really good, and he's aggressive. I think this will go well. Nailed it.
Yeah, nope, I was... They looked really good the game that they won. They looked really good for the first half of the game that they lost. And they didn't even look bad the second half. It's just like things got out of their control. Like, things just, like, kind of spiraled very quickly.
Yeah, but, I mean, they looked really good. And then against Dignitas, I mean, they shat on Dignitas. Like, the one thing on Dignitas I'm good with keeping, honestly, well, I have nothing against Viper, he can stay, and obviously Johnson, but the thing people, we didn't even mention it, Acadian in the jungle, I'm fine with that. I think Acadian's a fine player in the jungle.
But he has Dardoch sitting behind him, and I think Dardoch is slightly better.
Yeah, and that's the thing, like, Dardoch's there now, and I think he'll get replaced by Dardoch as the split goes. I absolutely think that.
I don't know, I kind of thought that...
They had just picked him up like a week and a half earlier. There just wasn't enough time, I think.
Fair.
I expect to see Dardoch by week 3.
Okay.
But I'm sorry, he'll go 3 weeks possible without seeing Dardoch, so we would see him by week 4 is what I meant to say. But yeah, I just Golden Guardians, that mid jungle looks really good. Now the rest of the team needs to bump up just a bit more, and they'll be there.
I think Haunter's getting to that old folks home age as well. Like,
Agreed.
I saw him make a couple really silly moves this weekend.
I've been pseudo anti-Haunter for a while. I think you've heard me say enough, so I'll let you talk about it.
I think that Haunter, I think he was good being in a bottom team, but Golden Guardians is like on the cusp of not being a bottom team anymore, and they really kind of need to shed Haunter, which he didn't evolve into Gensgar, whatever we decided that his evolution would be.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that Haunter is definitely one of the next areas of concern on this team. Because, like you said, closer's looking very good. We've got DeMonte now. DeMonte's looking very good. Like, I'm so glad that DeMonte came in week 1 and looked as good as he did after riding the bench for an entire split on Dignitas.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I'm really glad Game 1, getting to play against Dignitas, especially because that schedule was already decided beforehand. Beautiful. And yeah, he just... He showed why he should have been played before Froggen. And that was really satisfying. And, yeah, I agree with you. Like, Haunter's place to look. I was saying last split, even. Haunter and then the bot lane are the issues. And honestly, when I look at the bot lane, while the support, like, you're still working with Huhi, or you had Keith's part of last split, whatever, I think you need to start with FBI. I just don't think FBI is going to become that player you hoped he would when you imported him.
Yeah.
Like,
he was from Oceania?
Yeah. I think so. Or Turkey.
Who he pleasantly surprised me this weekend with how he played.
Yeah.
Because he's looked not so good.
At times, yep.
And he kind of came in and he looked pretty darn good this weekend. I was very surprised. I mean, I'm going to keep wearing, like, I'm going to have EG as, like, my main thing. And
you always get a side piece.
Yeah, Golden Guardian's going to be my side piece.
You did need a side to get a second after Echo Fox left the league, so you didn't have Golden Guardians and Echo Fox anymore.
Yeah.
And you took all of last split to think it over.
Yeah.
And then one drunken night.
One drunken night. Well, I was leaning into EG for a lot of last split.
You know what the best part of that is? Isn't EG actually the team who took the Echo Fox spot, technically?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, no, they absolutely are. So you really...
Same team.
Yeah. Chase wants to put into the same slot he always did.
Yeah. No, I think Golden Guardians, like, I think they're going to continue to do, I hope they continue to do well this split. And then I think once the split is over, they need to take a good hard look at Haunter. Unless Haunter fucking just pops off the rest of the split, which I don't believe is going to happen, but it could.
Yeah. Haunter and FBI are my issue. I mean, and honestly, if you're Golden Guardians, I don't think you're good enough to get a shot at Worlds where you can attract Sneaky, maybe, and you maybe don't have the money for it, but it's like, if you're like, yo, we got Closer, we got DeMonte, who do you want as a support? And we'll get you and that person. We'll pay it. Like, all of a sudden you're looking at a really good team. I think so. Like, you're looking at a top 4 or 5 team easily if you could pick up Sneaky and a support he requests.
I would actually love that a lot. I don't...
It's not going to happen. Not at all.
Chance in hell, but...
Nope, not even that, yeah. Chase sounds far away.
Do I? Womp womp.
I'm just louder than you. That's the problem.
Yeah. I don't know. I have a lot of hope that Golden Guardians is going to do well this split. I think that if they continue to play like they have this split, or so far just like the first game, I think that they're going to be absolutely top half.
Yeah.
Top half.
Yeah,
maybe
top 5?
6.
They're still in that 5-6 slot. I totally agree. It's going to matter what their form is at the end of the split. But I think...
And I'm okay with that. And I think they should be okay with that.
Yeah.
Because as long as they're not a 9-10 team and they're continuing to make small changes to make things better, I'm I would be ecstatic being a top half team or even a top 5-6 team.
Yeah, my rant at the end of last split with them was, great, you made playoffs. You need to become a good enough team where you're not celebrating making playoffs. You need to do something in playoffs. Lucky for them, this split, 8 teams make it. And I think they're good enough to shit on the other 2 teams who make it in behind them.
Yeah.
I mean, currently, if the split ended right now, I think Golden Guardians easily beats whoever's like 7-8.
I think so.
Because they look good. I hope they improve. I guess let's go to a team we skipped over that did go 0-2. 100 Thieves. But they did lose to Evil Geniuses and Cloud9, 2 teams that 2-0'd to start. And the 2 teams in the regular split last split were 1-2, and 1-3 when all was said and done in playoffs. Like, those aren't bad teams to lose to.
I mean, honestly, if you're going to get the shittiest 2 possible games, do it week 1. That way you just have, like, you know that you've got a pretty good chance of winning a lot of the next set of matches you've got.
I mean, it hurts, and it can be rough on the mentality, especially because they have Liquid next. But if they don't shit down Immortals' throat, I'm going to be shocked. Like, they get to close this week on Immortals, and I think you crush them, you feel great, and then you head into CLG TSM in week 3 looking good. Like, or feeling good. You're like, no, it's just those 3 teams, like, and if they beat TL even better, you come off a real high off that week. But 100 Thieves also didn't make any changes. Then, much like CLG, they're still rocking Ryoma in the mid lane, Someday up top. They did bring, or they brought in somebody? No.
They've still got Cody-san.
Yeah, it's still Cody-san in the bot lane.
Someday up top. Stunt is he?
Stunt is still support, and Jungle's still Meteos. They kept everything the same, and I don't think they brought in any backup players or anything. So, like, I think that team...
They brought in 2 additional supports, Breezy and Pome?
Yeah, nobody who was highly rated.
Yeah.
Now, I do think the weak part on that team is Stunt. I think he showed some real rough play at times against both EG and Cloud9, where it's like, why the fuck are you... Like, kind of Afro-Mooish moments, where it feels like he has League of Legends pro Alzheimer's, where it's like, you're 30, but you forget where the fuck you should be.
Well, I mean, he is filling in Afromoo's big ol' moo boots, but...
Keep going.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's just kind of a rough start having 2 very good teams to go against right away.
Oh, yeah.
And am I surprised that they lost? Not at all. Do I think that they're going to be bottom 2, bottom 4? Probably not.
No, I think they're also... I think currently they're a little better than Golden Guardians.
I can be okay with that.
I think Golden Guardians, 100 Thieves, and TSM are kind of a lump for me currently. And I think 100 Thieves have room to grow. Someday's still looking good. I think him and Meteos are fine. Bot lane, Cody said, like, everybody seems to be playing fine right now. Ryoma's improving, and it's funny because at the beginning of last split, Papa Smithy, when he got together this team as a new GM who's never, even coached, like, he's like, we're looking to the future. Ryoma's somebody we think has a lot of potential and can improve. Now, has Ryoma become the next Bjergsen and popped off immediately? No. But he is improving. Which is not what we can say about Aka, or at least I can't. And I feel like, okay, if Ryoma can make it to being a top half mid, that is such a win for 100 Thieves. They just need to find a support who's the same.
Yeah.
And maybe those 2 players, Breeze, I feel like I've heard of Breezy before, and the other one I had not. But, like, maybe they play one of those this split for, like, play him for a week or 2. And if that's so much better, okay. But yeah, like, maybe that works out, and you get the best of it that way. So, it's just hoping for the best a little bit, I guess. I think they're going to be fine. I just, as constituted, unless Stunt plays better, or Someday starts hard carrying through the top, which he did a handful of times last split, I don't see this team making Worlds. But they're a good team with really good places to build off of, and I mean, that's what they were looking at the beginning of last split, so I think they're on the track.
Yeah, so like with Golden Guardians, like I think that if they hit middle of the pack, 5-6 again, and they do that a couple times, like I think that they should be very happy with themselves. 100 Thieves, on the other hand, if they hit 5-6 and they keep doing that for a split or two, they should not be happy because they've seen what the top looks like. They've seen what the bottom looks like. Like they're being in the middle is not where they should be. Like they very, I mean, not with this particular roster. I don't think that they're a top 3 team.
No.
But I think that as an org, they should aim higher than that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think they do have their sights set there. I just don't know if their sights are set there for this split or because I mean the whole plan, even like I said at the beginning of last split, was next year. Although, like, now that you're kind of close to that already, maybe your site should be set there now. Like, why stop being ahead of schedule? Why get back on schedule when you can continue to be ahead of schedule, you know? So it's an interesting spot they find themselves in, where they are exceeding expectations, but maybe now that makes your expectations higher.
Yeah, I mean, they just got this brand new, like, center built where I'm sure all of their team is living.
No, it wasn't a living. It was just a, like, practice and all that center. It was not a living place.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Because that place is huge. It was, like, the big new Cash App building that they've...
Yeah, well, the team was not to be living there anyway. Well, and many of the pros now, like, live in their own places.
Oh, really?
Fun fact, DeMonte and Acadian live together.
I did hear somebody say that. One of the casters mentioned that.
Yeah. Well, I saw like interview with Travis too. Like, yeah, they live together, so that's cool. Like, so there's the interview with with Acadian I saw from Travis. It was honestly kind of adorable because like he's talking to Acadian. He's like, oh yeah, so like you and DeMonte live together. He's like about the Golden. He's like, yeah, no, like I saw like the posting they were doing tryouts and stuff. I'm like, come on, man, you've got to like go for it. And he's like, yeah, no, of course I'm gonna, whatever. And like he had like posted like he said like there's a group chat with like a bunch of their friends because obviously they're friends that they live together.
Oh yeah.
And he like it was like 4 of their friends and then him and DeMonte and like message like I got the job, I got the spot or whatever. So like we got back to the apartment. He's like I was so excited for him, man. Like go get like congratulate him and give him a hug. I'm like, oh, you guys are cute. You two little blonde boys.
I'd be very surprised if a lot of the players throughout the teams are not all friends with each other. They obviously have their work and personal lives.
Work together.
Yeah.
Been on the same team. Like obviously they were on the same team last split, and that was another question that came up. It's like, so when you guys are playing like scrims, do you have to like make sure the other person's playing music or some shit? And it's like, no, Golden Guardians does their scrims on site. Dignitas does theirs at home.
Okay.
Like, and I assume their games as well. But yeah, like Golden Guardians has a place they go to play. So 100 Thieves, I believe, are going to their center to play now, but I don't know for sure. And I know they don't live on site, or at least not all of them do.
Yeah, I suppose that makes sense.
Pretty sure like Bang, Meteos, like absolutely do. Or I'm sorry, not Bang, goddamn. Cody-san and Meteos absolutely would not live on site at this point. They've got enough money saved up. Same for Someday. You get old enough with enough money, you don't want to live with people anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it's kind of like being in like a big old frat house. Like, I think it would.
You outgrow that shit. You lived in a frat house.
Yeah, I kind of look back on that. I was like, okay, I can see the appeal. Like, I had fun.
But you want one to do it now. Like, I mean,
I don't know.
Saying you were not married, would you want to live in a frat house right now?
Maybe?
Would you rather live in an apartment complex where like 3 of your other friends also happen to live?
Yes, that sounds better.
Yes, and that's where these guys are. They have the money to go, hey, let's all live in the same complex, but fuck if I'm gonna share a building, like an actual like house with you.
I don't know. Some of those houses have like the frat that I lived in. There was like 8 different rooms and like.
How many kids lived there though? Like 40?
It was. Oh, my frat? No, it was like 1 per room. Everyone else lived off.
Oh, tiny frat. Holy shit.
Yeah, I was in a small frat. But
oh, okay.
No, living with 40 other people sounds like a fucking nightmare. Living with like 8 of your best friends, like that sounds like it could be pretty doable.
Yeah. Like I don't want to live with somebody I'm not dating anymore, and like I chose to not do that when I moved here. Doug said, as much as I hate paying for it, I do like living by myself. I like not living with some random motherfucker.
Yeah, it's really
Like, I wasn't
awkward
gonna
when
do
like
that.
I talk to Lefty and Righty and Jordan's around. I'm like, whoa. These are my old roommates.
Oh, God.
Wait, what?
They still get more action than she does.
Yeah.
Not by their choice.
No.
By hers. Okay, let's move on from 100 Thieves, though. Who do you want to hit up next?
We should just move from the bottom to the top. The next one we've got is FlyQuest.
Yeah. FlyQuest, I really think they're going to be a really good team this split. I ranked them highly coming into this last week, and they played a closer game against Cloud9, I feel like, than they did in their playoffs against them. Or except for the one game they played probably closer in playoff or in the finals. But this was a good game against Cloud9 they played, and they dumpstered Immortals. Like, this team looks good. The move to solo in the top lane, I liked a lot in playoffs, and I still like it a lot now. I'm sad for Viper. That sucks. But this team with Solo, Santorin, Power of Evil, so good in the top half. And then, you got Wild Turtle, who's looking fine in the bot with...
Ignar?
Ignar. I wanted to say Ole for a moment. I'm like, no, they got rid of Ole. Or no, Golden Guardians got rid of Ole. But yeah, like, those two look fine in the bot, but that top half
Where is Ole? Is he on Dig now?
He's on somebody's academy. But that top half, those three, look so good together. And I really like what they have going on. I think what they have going on is what Golden Guardians needs to aspire to by switching out Haunter for somebody better.
Oh, Ole is still on Golden Guardian Academy.
Okay, there you go. But, like, if you can seal that off as Golden Guardians, like, you have this FlyQuest that you're looking at, and you're like, okay, we can do that. Now, I think FlyQuest's bot lane is better, too. I think they have two very serviceable players in the bot lane. But
yeah, I mean, Turtle's been he was a little cold for a little while, but he seems to have turned the hot water back on, and he's looking a little bit better.
I think he's learned to play the weak side.
Okay.
And that's awesome. Because if I'm on that team, give everything you can to Power of Evil, and then get some also to solo. I will do the old school sneaky, not lose bot, while everyone else wins on the team, and then we will fuck them as a 5-man. Like, and I think Wild Turtles learned that.
Yeah. I mean, I said this earlier, this meta right now is so mid-focused. If your mid is doing well, your team should do well. Like, you should build your team around mid, and if mid can destroy, the rest of the team should destroy as well. I mean, obviously, it's not cut and dry. That's not how it's actually going to work, but...
Right.
Like if you can get people that can work around your mid lane and your mid lane can do well, the team overall can do well. And PoE is starting to look pretty darn good again. He was also kind of cold for a little bit, and then he turned it back on. So
yeah, I mean, I know they went 1-1. Obviously, they lost to Cloud9. I think this is a top 4 team, and that doesn't sound as good as it is, but I've got a thing I want to talk about at the end of covering all the teams. I think top 4 is actually really competitive right now. Let's move on to the other team that's 1-1, TSM. They are a question mark. Like, FlyQuest, I feel like we know they're good. TSM, I feel like we know they're a question mark.
I don't know. I so want Double Lift to just poop the bed and have this be his worst split ever.
Last split was pretty bad. So can it be slightly better than that?
Slightly better. But then on the other hand, I feel bad for Bjergsen.
Yeah.
Because Bjergsen doesn't deserve the shit hand that he's been dealt around him.
To be fair, Bjergsen was part of pulling in Double Lift. He's got enough say in that organization. They do not swap Kabe for Double Lift if he doesn't say so.
Yeah, well then that's bad on him. I don't think Double Lift is performing as bad as he did last split.
I mean, we're only 2 games in.
And it's funny, his TSM page still has him in his TL jersey, so...
You would think Lena could have got him a jersey and snapped a picture by now. Jesus.
Yeah, no doubt.
She was busy leaking Dardock shit, couldn't even get a team photo for Double Lift.
Spica was just sad.
Yeah, that's gonna be the issue with this. So, okay, Let's get a little deeper into the Spica thing. Because game 1 against Team Liquid, they picked him Kane. Really aggressive, has to snowball, right? Because you have to get your transformation.
And he didn't get it till 25 minutes?
Yeah, well, and partly because the transformation he earned was not the one he wanted.
He got blue and he wanted red?
Yeah. You want red. And, like, you're good... blue has not been... It's the more aggressive one, but it's so squishy. Like, unless your intent was to pick Nidalee jungle and you got Kane instead, like, I don't know why you would go blue right now kind of thing. And even then, like, oh, Nidalee has range. And a heal. There's all sorts of shit. But, like, blue has not been really the competitive pick. It's maybe a 10% for competitive since ever. So the thing is, like, he got blue. You get blue off, like, doing damage against ranged champions, red off doing to melees. And so, yeah, he got his blue first, and then he couldn't do shit, because he was just like, well, I'm normal Kane. Like, at that point, I think there's two things here. One, if you are a pro jungler, and you understand it's probably going to be a long fucking time before I can get the red upgrade, isn't it better to just take the blue upgrade right away? I could be wrong, but the statistics of, like, what upgrade, how things get better, in my head say, you know what, 8 minutes in a early game focused meta probably means fucking more than anything. Take the blue, choke it down, get a spike.
Yeah, because, I mean, that's 8 to 10 minutes to get your first transformation, and he didn't get it till 25.
Is it 8 to 10? I thought it was, like, 15 to 20. Or 15 to
maybe
18.
I think it's, like, 10 to 15.
Oh, wow. Okay, then, yeah, he really ate shit. If he was, like, 10 to 15 minutes slow, holy shit.
Yeah.
I thought he was, like, 3 to...
I could be wrong. Has been a little bit since I've played Kane.
And I never played Kane. I was thinking it was, like, 3 to 5 minutes slow, but, yeah, if he was, like, 10 plus minutes slow, then, yeah, he absolutely just take the blue, take the buffs. Like, you got fucked.
Oh, yeah, no. He was a huge amount of time away from... He should have definitely taken blue. I mean, at that point, like,
right.
I think he thought he was going to just, like, go farm up red real quick and call it a day.
Right.
But that's not how it worked.
So, and then here, the other part of it is, though, why was Kane even picked in the first place? And that comes back on Parth, who I have shat on for years now, being the coach again. And I know the whole, like, kind of thing that said is, like, oh, Doublelift and Bjergsen are basically running this team with Parth as input. And I'm guessing Spica doesn't pick his own champion. Because Doublelift and Bjergsen will pick their own. They will veto other people's, I would guess. And I don't think they give a shit what this rookie jungler picks, and they don't have a pick for him, and they'll say, okay, whatever Parth thinks is best. Whoever picked Kane, that's a question there. So there's 2 levels here. It's like playing the Kane wrong and whoever picked the Kane. And whoever picked the Kane is partially responsible for Spica playing the Kane wrong.
Yeah, I think that somebody at TSM must have tuned into our show at some point and were like, you guys neuter junglers, you guys play too passive, you guys are...
Pick Nidalee for him then, man!
Yeah. They're like, you want an aggressive jungler? We're gonna give you Kane. What are we gonna do with him? Nothing.
Hey, what's the more aggressive version of Kane, red or blue? Maybe you should have fucking taken blue at 15 minutes when you could have.
Yeah.
None of it follows, and TSM, my complaint against them last split, especially in playoffs, is the organization has issues. And that is going to continue to be my issue. You beat Dignitas? Great. The one organization we ranted on for like 10 fucking minutes just now for pulling in players who shouldn't even be in the league anymore. Well done! Like, TSM, you have Bjergsen. You have Doublelift. You have Biofrost, who's also a known to be good player. And I think Broken Blade's fine in the top lane. You are I love that it's become a meme. TSM's jungler is a defense against the dark arts position. You will die. It will be awful.
And it will be your fault somehow.
See you again never. And, like, that's what TSM does to junglers. Spica, there's no reason any competent jungler would want to go there anymore, especially after how they just did Dardoch dirty. Like,
yeah.
Bro, like, fucking, like, luckily they did find a place for him, guess what? I don't know what it is. Dignitas has now gotten 3 next TSM junglers in a row.
Oh.
Like, when Spica fails, is Dignitas gonna pick up Spica next?
Please don't, but please do.
Like, what's going on there? And it just... I don't think Spica's going to succeed. Not because Spica's necessarily bad, but because I think the environment for him is trash. He will not have a good opportunity to develop when he has 3 laners who are supposed to carry. Well, okay, Bjergsen knows how to not be the carry now. I think this team is best served as Bjergsen was the carry again, but whatever, let's not play to the fucking meta. Let's have a carry in top and bot lane, and then have our best possible carry position in the current meta not carry. That's probably what they're going to do, and it's going to suck, and they're fucked. I see this team finishing 5th because I think the top 4 is so much more competitive. And they just organizationally have issues. If they finish 4th, I won't be shocked. If they finish above that, I'll be very surprised.
I don't think there's a world where they finish 4th or better.
I hope not.
I think the way things are looking right now, and probably will continue to look, is this going to be Cloud9, some sort of EG Team Liquid, probably FlyQuest,
yep.
And then TSM after that.
Yep, that's where I see it too. And Golden Guardians could even pass them. Fingers crossed. Or 100 Thieves. But when it comes down to it, I used to want to see TSM lose. Because as a Cloud9 fan, they were the one beating Cloud9 in the finals all the time. Bjergsen, in that state of League of Legends as a whole, one great player could carry everything. And Bjergsen was that player. He was so good. Still is. Very, very good. But that's not what the game is anymore. And at this point, I don't want to see TSM lose because it makes me feel good to see them lose or anything. I'm to the we're not mad, we're just disappointed. Just ingrained in me about TSM. And I want to see TSM lose so that ownership, Reginald, President Lena, will understand that they need to rework this organization. TSM is one of the... They're
just too close to the situation. They're never going to see it. They're just going to see their players failing. And they're not going to be like, oh, wait, the players are a reflection of us? The players are doing bad. Maybe we're doing bad. TSM is one of the largest organizations in esports. They're not, Liquid levels. I think in a general esports, it's like Liquid and Cloud9 are ahead of them. Just because they have a lot of teams, especially like Liquid has, won the international or just been to the finals. EG's a storied organization. They've been around forever. They've won bunches of everything. But TSM is still one of the biggest organizations, originated in League of Legends. Actually, so did Cloud9, but that's another story. And so did Liquid, actually. All 3 of them. But they are bad. They're not bad. They're not a top dog in the sport, in the game, that they were originally the top dog and they came from. And I think it's the meta shifting and the changes within the game that, they're still trying to play the game as if the game were 2 years ago.
But the thing that I was getting towards is, you're in a lot of other things. And their success is up and down in those, of course, as well, as is any team. But the way that you've had success in those other ones is by knowing how the game is played now, and also by letting people who know how that game works make those decisions. Because Reginald is not making the decisions for their, Counter-Strike team. I don't think they have one. Their Rainbow Six Siege team. Which they had, and I don't think they have anymore either. But you're letting people in the know make those decisions. And they're not doing that in League of Legends. They're continuing to say, no, Parth's been here for 7 years. It's not that long. He's been here for 4 or 5 years. At least 5 years, actually, I think. He knows how this game works. I started the team. I know how this game works. Lena was dating me when I started this team. She knows how to... No, fucking hire somebody and back the fuck off.
Yeah.
The TSM will not return to being a good, like, top-tier League of Legends team until the old guard steps the fuck off and lets someone else run this team. You're absolutely right that they are too close to the situation. And, like, the fact that Parth is still there, the fuck, man? Hire somebody else. Steal a coach from Cloud9. You can do it. Hire Westrice. You can fucking do it. That's where fucking, Kane, not Kane, is it Kane Song? No, Kane or Song, whoever the fuck, Liquid has in my brain's, Song.
I don't recall.
They obviously they have Jet now as well. But they got him from Cloud9. He came up under Reapered. Like, if there's any team who ever has an issue, just buy whoever the fuck Cloud9 has. It'll be fine.
Yeah, offer him a wad of cash. He'll probably do better.
Like, you know, and speaking of buying somebody from Cloud9, let's go to EG. Because they bought a Cloud9 jungler, they bought a Cloud9 top laner, they bought a Cloud9 support. Looking pretty fucking good right now, aren't they?
I'm digging it. I'm digging EG quite a bit. Kumo has looked pretty darn okay. Zazel has looked disgustingly good.
I would have gone well, not disgustingly good, but I would have gone the other way where like Kumo was fine. Or I'm sorry, Zazel was fine to me, and I thought Kumo looked actually quite good this weekend.
Okay.
Yeah, continue though.
No, I just think that this team is looking fantastic.
Bane looking on point.
Yeah,
Jizuke still being an aggressive little crazy bastard.
Jizuke looked insane.
Italian Stallion was carrying Jeff's fantasy team this week.
Yeah, nope. I really was enjoying watching EG play this weekend. I was drunk enough when they won their perfect game against CLG to go buy some merch. I put a jersey into the shopping cart, but I did rein that in a little bit.
Chase Man should not spend money?
Yeah.
Holy shit, put it in the history books.
Well, so my issue with the jersey is that I cannot fit Viking Redbeard on the back of it. I've got a 10 character constraint here, so...
You weren't even being practical. It was just that you could put your whole tag on it.
Yeah. But, no, I'm super stoked with how this team is looking, how they're playing. The players on this team are just, like, I like them all individually. Like, having Svenskeren. Yeah. And then Bang actually looking good this split.
I think Bang looked good most of last split. Kumo was the lag there.
Okay.
And Zazel had some rough shit, too. I think Bang looked kind of rough at the start of last split, but, like, I mean, at the end of last split, they finished second. They got third in playoffs. Like, I think Bang was probably the strongest player with Jizuke at the end of split. I don't know. Yeah,
Jizuke kind of looked so in half of last split. So him coming in this split and just looking very good.
Starting on fire, which was great to see.
Yeah. Hopefully he can keep that momentum up.
I think really what we saw is this team learned how to play well together last split, and they've carried it over. Yeah,
because they didn't make any changes between last split and this split either. So
they brought in Huni as an academy player technically, and I said it last week. I think a lot of that is hopefully he can teach Kumo some shit, which Kumo looked better this week, and it wouldn't be a Huni thing because it's so recent. He looked better this week than he did most of last split. Hopefully he continues to improve, and I think also to be a friend to Bang and keep Bang, in a good place.
Yeah.
So right now...
If you want to pay me to be somebody's best friend, I could do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I probably couldn't do that.
I mean, I don't know. Huni was already making a fucking $1 a year to be a shit player. Oh, fuck me. He was making $1 a year to have used to been good. That's too harsh, but still. I think this team, though, I mean, like you said earlier, I think this is top 4. Like, I'm gonna get there, but, like, this team's really good right now. They beat 100 Thieves, which is a good win. CLG, who gives a shit, but I think it's still a decent win. This next week's gonna be a real fucking test for them, though. Cloud9 and Liquid. If they go 1-1, they're putting their foot in the ground and saying, no, we're top 2 or top 3, top 4, probably top 3 at that point. You got to come for us.
Yeah. If they go 1-for-1 this weekend, they're definitely a top 3 team at that point.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, you could say FlyQuest maybe beats out TL, but we haven't gotten to TL yet.
I mean, EG was one of the few teams that gave Cloud9 a loss last split. I believe they took down Team Liquid, but I think everyone took down Team Liquid last split.
EG got 1 game off of Cloud9 in playoffs.
Okay.
And the only other team to get a game off of them was TSM during the regular season.
Okay.
So, yeah, EG is one of 2 losses Cloud9 sustained. That's something.
And they're looking better now than they did all of last split.
Yeah, including in playoffs. I agree. I fully agree. I mean, now, that was all week. Hopefully they can sustain that. But I think they're getting off on the right foot, and that means the world when it comes to this split. Especially because this split's all that matters when it comes to going to Worlds. So, let's then tag in on Team Liquid. Actually, you know what? Let's do Cloud9 because I think it's a quick run over. Cloud9.
They did Cloud9 things.
They're top of the league.
Yay.
Same team, still looking good. Blabber will not get Olaf for the next 2 weeks minimum.
He looked so good on that Olaf.
He just ran at people and punched them in the mouth until he ended up having more health than he did at the start of a fight. Like, he was like, I'm at half health, blah, 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 you're at 0 health, I have 3/4, and, like, fucked off.
Yeah.
He's so good when you give him aggressive stuff, and I hope that we continue to see him be given random new aggressive champions every fucking week. It's like, he plays Olaf this week, cool, he's playing Nidalee next week, and then they ban Olaf and Nidalee, and the week after that he's playing Lee Sin, and they're like, okay, we throw 3 jungle bans, and he's like, Kha'Zix, let's go. Like, I want to see new shit all year from him, or all split, it'd be fantastic. The kid's ridiculous. He has the highest win percentage of any player ever in LCS, above like 4 games or some shit.
Oh, wow.
And he's played almost 2 full splits, I think, combined at this point, like, of all the little instances he's done. He's got, like, an 80-something% win percentage.
That's wicked. Niski looked so good. Niski did Niski things. Like, he has continued to just be disgustingly good.
Yeah, Sven got things out of the way right away by dying in the first game, so now we don't have to worry about his fucking KDA all split. That's great. They still didn't lose a mid turret, but hopefully they'll, like, drop that next next week so we don't have to think about that anymore either.
Vulcan being the luckiest motherfucker in this entire league.
Yeah, I loved his Nautilus hook directly into the wall in front of him, followed by the Rammus OK emote. That was one of the best fucking things to have. You saw that, right?
I think so,
they
yeah.
replayed it. It's been clipped. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Vulcan is the south side of mid, southeast side or whatever. Like, so he's standing there, ready to go into the river. And I think he thought he, like, clicked to move first, or he didn't remember where he was, and he fucking Nautilus hooks directly into the wall in front of him. And so, like, it just does the animation, he doesn't move anywhere, that's how close he is. And then just the Rammus comes up, and he walks around the wall, and they start the fight anyway, and they fucking crushed it. But, like, he blew his hook, and I'm sure he's like, oh, it's like 6 seconds, because it's, like, mid-late game or whatever. But it's just like, Flash.
So,
okay, emote was so good.
Is that something new this split? Cause
emotes, yes.
Because I don't recall them last split, and I definitely know they didn't exist before that.
They introduced it in playoffs.
Okay. Because
they
I was
allowed
like,
pros to use them in
they
playoffs.
were being cheeky AF with them this week.
Oh yeah,
and I loved it. I loved it. I loved the
Johnson
Dignitas.
Flash TSM.
Yeah.
Or sorry, not Johnson. Tactical Flash TSM.
Yeah.
The
entire
Demonte,
Team Liquid
Flash
team.
Dignitas.
One of the entire teams Flash Dig.
Oh, I think all of Golden Guardians did.
Yeah.
All of Golden Guardians Flash Dignitas.
The emotes being very cheeky was beautiful. I really enjoy that. Like, the fact that they can get that shit off as quickly as they can, because, like, I have to, like, okay, I have to move a finger over here, and I have to get the right one.
Oh, I have my emotes on X. So it's just X and flip.
Okay. I should probably move my emotes around.
Yeah. I love when I play with my buddy Ian. He never changed the key that emotes started on.
I think it's G.
Wait, G. No, not G. T?
T.
But,
yeah, it's something that's off to the side that
his trinket and emotes are on the same. So when he plays support, every time he wards, it flashes an emote. And like, you should really change that, because some not moron support across from you's gonna realize what the fuck that means and knows that brush is warded and just call it out every fucking time, right? But yeah, whenever I'm like, hey, can you ward this brush? And I see an emote pop up, I know he immediately warded it. Oh shit!
I mean, I don't really have much else to say about Cloud9.
And that's why I wanted
They looked so
breeze
good.
past them. So let's talk about Team Liquid. The only change they made was, dropping the best bot laner that North America's ever had and playing Tactical, and kid's good.
Tactical looked pretty darn good.
I said he looked good in two games.
Oh my god!
3 games.
Who the fuck is this guy? Have you seen this guy before?
What? Fucking, oh my god. Dude, what? Is he in a Mortal Kombat movie?
I kind of want to make love to his face.
I think you need, hold on, show it to the stream, man.
I don't know if I can.
We're gonna, you got the screen, the monitor, you gotta show this. Hold on, get real close, real fucking up in there. Oh, look at Rockin', guys. He is it's gotta be bleached, right? Because there's
it's totally
there's
bleached.
dark and then it's like platinum, though.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he looks like he's in a Mortal Kombat movie. Right? Or maybe a Fast and the Furious, like one of the first 3 Fast and the Furious movies.
Like a Twilight reject?
Ooh, could be, yeah, there you go. He's got a very cinematic aesthetic. But anyway, Tactical looked really good. They did bring in Rikara, actually, as his backup, didn't they? Something like that?
Yes, Rikara is his backup.
Yeah, that was super, because we talked about it for a moment. It was super weird. But no, Tactical's
Let's get
good.
this guy for 15k and call it a day.
Yeah, I think Tactical looked good last split when he won his 2 games, lost 1, and then they brought Double Lift back in or whatever. Yeah, I think he beat TSM 100 Thieves and then lost to CLG, and they brought Double Lift back in against Immortals and lost that one too. But Tactical is gonna be fine. He's on a team that is 2 world champions, a world finalist, and a world semifinalist. Kid's gonna be fine. If he has any work ethic and is not an asshole, this team ends up 5th. Would have ended up last split 5th too, if their bot laner had any work ethic and wasn't an asshole.
This guy has been put in a uniquely awesome position to be good enough to be on Team Liquid and play with some of these world-class players. He's going to do nothing but hopefully pick up good work ethic, good habits. And then if he ever decides to leave Team Liquid, he can ask for a ridiculous amount of money as long as he performs well.
Well, and let's not forget Core JJ was a bot laner at one point. Guess what? You've got one of the best supports in the league who also is a world champion. Well, he was a world champion as a bot laner, but he's a world champion and he's played bot lane well as well. This guy's got a lot of information to offer. Also, yes, what was the guy's name?
Quicksilver?
No.
Rakin?
Rakin. He does look like Quicksilver from the Avengers movie. That nailed it. So, here's a question. Who lucked into the better position? Or is it the better luck of what they could have been? Vulcan getting to Cloud9?
1000% Vulcan.
Tactical could have never played on a team ever, and he's starting on Team Liquid right now with that roster. Vulcan's on the better team currently, but the gap of what could have been to what is now, what do you think?
Vulcan, 100%.
You do? You think Vulcan?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Vulcan should thank his lucky stars every single night.
I think both of them should.
Oh, yeah. I mean, at least that they can perform.
And I think the best part is both of these guys seem to be actually fantastic players. It's not I lucked into it and I'm going to get away with it. It's, I got the spot and now I can fucking shine like I can.
Vulcan was squandered on every team he was on before.
He was on one team before. It was that clutch team that went to Worlds.
Every single team before this, he was squandered.
He went to Worlds.
Fair. No, I think...
Tactical was squandered last split. Fucking 9th place. Should have played him more.
Yeah.
Should have played him that 4th game. If he went 3-1 while Double Lift is out, so hard to put Double Lift back in at that point. But they didn't have any balls, and they put in Double Lift after 1 game benched. Fucking stupid.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really have anything else to say. I think that this team looked very good this weekend. They did Team Liquid things to a core. They didn't make many mistakes early, with the exception of potentially the Golden Guardians game. But then the second they had the opportunity to take the game back over, they did, and they did so very handedly. Which I think that we're absolutely going to see Team Liquid back to form. I'll be surprised if they finish lower than third.
Lower than third? I see at the top. I think they'll finish top 3, but I still think 4 is like totally possible there.
I'm not thinking fourth place is out of the realm of possible. I just think that they are going to be a top 3 team this split.
Yeah. All right, so we've gone through each of the teams, and this is the thing I said earlier I kind of want to talk about, because we brought up 3 and 4 a bunch. So I know you don't really follow EU, so this is probably going to be a little more bringing in the audience as well, especially we got Alan, we got Halder, like, you guys watch LCS as well as other regions. But I want to bring a parallel of what we saw in EU almost exactly a year ago. G2, in spring split of last year, shit on everyone in EU. And honestly, it wasn't even close. They went to MSI, they won MSI, and they went on to Worlds and got runner-up. Looked very good. But also we saw in EU, in the LEC, that in the summer split, a bunch of teams improved and stepped up to kind of meet the challenge. Were they still as good as G2? Fuck no. G2 still walked away with it. But we had like Fnatic and Origin. It was Fnatic, Origin, and one other team. Schalke. Those 3 stepped up to say, hey, we're actually fucking good teams. We can learn how to play this game. And we can challenge you. We can make you work for your wins. And EU became so much better just over the course of last season as a region. And I think it was spurred by G2, and then those other teams stepping up. So now you have a clump of 4 teams who are really turning out, especially 3 of them fighting each other, to become better. And the one who was already better now has some competition to help them even get even better. And I feel like we have a shot to see that kind of thing. Maybe not to the same level, but that sort of thing right now in the LCS. Cloud9 dumpstered fucking everybody last split, no question. Is as dominant as Liquid was over the last 2 years, winning every fucking split. They did not dominate a split the way Cloud9 just did. Like, not even fucking Cloud. That was destruction that Cloud9 brought on. And at the beginning of this split, though, I'm seeing EG looking good, FlyQuest looking good, this Team Liquid looking good. If those 3 teams can fight each other and get better, and also force Cloud9 to get a little bit better to stay on top, I think we have a really good opportunity for that to happen, and for us to see 2 very good teams make it to Worlds from LCS. Like, we're only going to send 3 total, but there could be, if Cloud9, can meet the challenge and continue improving, they could be a legitimate, very good team. Like a semifinal shoe-in kind of thing. Or like that they should make semifinals, and it would be crazy if they didn't. And then we could see another team that's like, yeah, they should make it out of groups, and another team that's like, they'll challenge depending on what group they get in. And I'm curious if there's any opinion from you or from anyone in the chat if, it's a 1-week fever dream, like, oh man, after 1 week they look good, whatever. But, I mean, from what I saw, Fly and EG, the improvement throughout last split, and then in playoffs, and then now, I feel like that's pretty well established that they could be those kind of teams. And then Liquid, what they should have been last split, and what they looked like in week 1. I think that gives us that shot. But, I mean, what do you guys think of that? Whether it's you, Chase, or anyone in the chat, I'm really curious.
Just for a quick question, when these teams scrim, do they get to pick who they scrimmed? Do they have to round robin who they scrim?
No. Scrims are totally organizational. They reach out to each other and say, hey, let's Wednesday we have this slot open. Can you scrim then? No, yes. Generally speaking, top teams scrim top teams, bottom teams scrim bottom teams. Like, Cloud9 is not going to scrim CLG unless there's a fucking reason to do it.
Can they? I honestly think some of these these lower teams should either possibly pay consulting fees to some of these higher teams to scrim with them, and then potentially like give them like pointers, like, hey, because like I mean, at the end of the day, some of these teams they're never going to be competition for Cloud9 or Team Liquid.
I'm sure throughout the season, all the teams scrim each other, but the percentage is skewed to teams within your own grouping.
Okay.
And at the same time, like if you're CLG, great, you can scrim Cloud9 week in, week out, but if you get dumpstered every day and that destroys team morale, that's not doing you any good either.
Well, so not necessarily just scrim and then like get destroyed by it, but like scrim and then get some like feedback, like, hey, here's what you did wrong. Like I'm saying, like obviously you wouldn't want to do that with like your direct competitors,
right? But it's still, I mean,
which is why I said,
even
like,
if they aren't competing with you on a win-loss basis, they are still technically your direct competitors.
Sure, but I mean, if you wrap that around like a consulting fee and maybe sign some sort of like. I think so.
One team directly advising another team is technically collusion.
Really?
I think so.
Okay.
Because it's two teams working together towards an equal goal. And that's basically where collusion comes into play.
Fair, but okay.
I mean, you're talking a league of 10 teams. If I'm 5th place and 1st place is coaching 6th place, and I'm 6th place or whatever, like I'm last place in playoffs, and I got knocked out by another team who's getting coached by the top team, I'm calling bullshit.
I think collusion is where like more you're throwing matches based on like
collusion is just strictly two teams working together, like two orgs working together to like do a thing kind of thing. Fair. Like generally it is throwing because it's like, oh, so we can bet on it. But
yeah. Okay.
But it can be other shit too.
Fair, I guess I don't know the law.
But what about like that idea of like the 4 teams making?
I mean, then it's going to make the 4 teams as good as those. Like it's going to make them only as good as that number 1 team potentially.
Well, right. But so my question though being, and I'll read. We've got some chat. Like my question was, we saw EU massively get better last season. Do you think we really do have the opportunity to have a somewhat, like not 100%, but maybe like 80% of what we saw in EU last year? Do we have the potential to see that in NA? Or are the other 3 teams that you and I are looking at to challenge Cloud9 not good enough to actually do what EU did? What do you think? And I'll read the chat responses.
I mean, I definitely think it's possible and probable that they're going to work together to get the top 4 teams to be better just by repeatedly scrimming them, because that does nothing but help NA overall. And if you already know that the other 3 teams are not going to probably beat you, or if you are continuing to crush them in scrims, like, yeah, I mean, there's no...
Do you think those 3 teams are actually good enough to push anything forward, or is Cloud9 just going to fucking step on everyone like they did last split? And not even have to... Because last split, they were fighting themselves to be better. They weren't fighting other teams to become better. Do you think these teams are actually good enough to push Cloud9 to become better that way now? Or does Cloud9 have to shadow box for eternity?
I think if we would have had MSI, things would have been different.
Cloud9 would have
been
the biggest beneficiary of MSI.
Being able to see how they were able to perform at MSI would have been like a pretty good indicator.
If they win, they still get experience and level up. If they get crushed, guess what? They fucking learn what they're bad at, and then they focus on that. Cloud9 would have been the biggest benefactor of an MSI.
Yeah.
It was really disappointing.
This whole year has been just terrible and unfortunate. But no, I think that them working together to get better, I think that the top talent is getting better.
Okay, and so you think Liquid, EG, Fly, this split are going to be good enough to make the region as a better whole? Or do you not think it's quite there?
It's week 1. I don't know if I want to make
that's
sweeping.
Why I'm saying, it's an early thing, but if you had to guess now,
I think absolutely.
I would love to see another 2 weeks as
we've already seen EG go from middle bottom of the pack to they got second last split. Team Liquid, although Doublelift was the anchor that last split, I think the rest of the team is going to slingshot ahead without him. And
Agreed.
FlyQuest, like, I think FlyQuest is going to be the new TSM in terms of, like, getting the top 4 slot.
I like that. That's really good.
Because, like, I mean, TSM has always been kind of like never the bride, always bridesmaid, but it's like the second or third
they were the bride
bridesmaid.
forever for a while. They have 6 championships.
Fair.
They went the 3-peat repeat at one point.
But no, I absolutely think that some of these teams that are starting to look good and do well, they're going to continue to look good and do well. And it's hard to gauge without outside competition.
Yeah.
And so I think that they're going to continue to push each other as much as they can.
Fun comment I saw on one of the Cloud9 post-game threads was, if Cloud9 goes like 10-0, they should sub in all of their academy team, ship the rest of the team off to like Korea, China, Europe, whatever, like do a bunch of boot camps with the other actual good teams, and then come back for playoffs so they can still make worlds. Like, be like, oh, we've got 10 wins, fuck it, we're gonna lose 8, make playoffs because top 8 teams win, who gives a shit, and then we'll come back like Super Saiyan as fuck and crush all you bitches, and then go to worlds actually good.
I watched the little interview that Zazel did with Travis Gafford, and he said that one of the like worst parts about like them training between last split and this split is that they didn't get to go anywhere to go boot camp.
Yeah.
And so
he's a former Cloud9 player. He's used to going to Korea between.
Yeah, so
I think EG would have as well, to be fair.
I mean, with how they ended last split, it would be ridiculous if they didn't.
Yeah. I mean, that organization is doing things right. Like, that whatever money came in to like revive Evil Geniuses, you know, from being like a player owned to then going to like, I think they're owned by like IGN or some shit, and they're basically dropped. And it was a fucking mess. But the company that is, you know, the money that is behind things right now are doing things right. Especially, I know for certain, you know, when it comes to League of Legends, with Nicole LaPointe Jameson as their CEO, she's doing the right shit. So good on them. Yeah, I think these teams, we're gonna see them challenging and making LCS a lot better. I don't know if we'll see quite as big of a shift, like, you know, the thing I brought up to begin with. I don't think we'll see as big of a shift as we saw in the LEC, but I won't be shocked if we see a similar one. Like, I really hope week 8 I can look back and be like, hey, remember that thing I fucking said about last year with Schalke? And, I mean, Grand Fennec's always been a good team, but so is, like, Team Liquid's been a good team for a long time. So, like, Schalke is Evil Geniuses coming out of nowhere. FlyQuest is Origin. They're, you know, been around for a while, but never did, like, anything great recently. It's like, look at that. We've got 4 teams that are, or 3 teams that are busting ass, and the team that's better than them, G2 Cloud9. And it's made the region better. And if we see that, and we see the lower level teams fucking fix their shit based on that, which we've mostly seen in EU as well, because like we saw this year in the LEC last split, like a full rookie team with Mad Lions, like being like, hey, maybe we shouldn't have a team made up of SOAS and Afromu and maybe we should just bring in a fucking bunch of rookies and hope for the best.
Yeah.
That'd be great. I would love to see LCS kind of match that and roll forward.
Yeah, so last split, like, the breakdown kind of went, like, Cloud9 was up here, and there was a pretty sizable gap between the next person there, and then there was, like, smaller gaps between here and there. I think this split, we're going to see a lot smaller of a gap between the top 3-4 teams, and we're going to see a big gap between that and the bottom teams, is what I fully expect to see happen this split.
It'll be interesting. We're going to have to see as things go forward. I know, as far as internationally, all the other top teams in the world are showing Cloud9 respect, but it's not going to be until the rest of the region steps up and it has any respect, because we are rightfully the 4th best region in the world right now. And that's with Korea having, like, really, really nosedived recently. So, a lot more needs to be done, but I think we have a fun split to look forward to. I mean, Cloud9 in their own is going to be a fun story to watch. I think Cloud9, TL, TSM are fun stories, and I sure hope EG and FlyQuest continue to be the fun stories we think they're going to be.
Agreed.
All right. Any last thoughts? Any topics from the chat before we close out? Last thoughts, Chase? Anything?
Nope, I've said a lot of things tonight.
You said a lot of things? What? That's crazy. I mean, I got my big thing out. That was my if I was Jat, I would have talked about that on the JLXP. Like, I would have waited like a week or two and been like, okay, if this holds up, I'm gonna make a JLXP episode on can LCS do what LEC did last year? Because it's looking like it.
I think it's possible. I'm not going to place any high wagers on it, but I placed a couple dollar bet.
Let's talk about the LPL. Unfortunately, we don't watch the LPL, my friend. I'm sorry.
I don't know even what that means.
We talked about Uzi retiring before the show.
And we talked about Wei getting fined a month's salary.
That shit's so ridiculous. All right, well, it looks like that might be closing us out then. We'll chill and chat maybe for a little bit. You might have to go right away.
I have to take off here.
Yeah.
Next week I will be out of town. However, I will try to drop in.
We'll figure it out. We'll know.
El Jefre should be able to step
possibly
in.
Otherwise, yeah.
And I will.
We'll figure it out on Tuesday at the latest, or I'm sorry, Monday at the latest.
Yeah.
Because the show's on Tuesday.
Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely watch the matches, and I will. I think if we can keep this show at a reasonable length of time, I can dip out for a little bit.
All right, but until next time, guys, thank you for joining us, and enjoy LCS. Cheers.